We're here with Russell Studebaker, a horticulturist here in Tulsa, and we're in one of the mid-Tulsa neighborhoods. And Russell, can you tell me a little bit about this area? Where are we?
We're in the area that's called Lewiston Gardens, and this is a treasure that we in Tulsa enjoy seeing every year because it has actually just hundreds and hundreds of peonies in bloom and iris and sometimes lots of oxeye daisies. And as you can tell, not only do you have the color here from the peonies, but the fragrance is just outstanding.
Yeah, the wind's
Awesome.
really bringing it to us.
Yes, and it's kind of a rite of spring to always to drive by and see this garden in bloom, and it's the configuration of the garden is in a slope or a bowl shape, and you can see it by driving on the two perimeter streets and look down into it, and it makes a wonderful view to look down in on the top of the flowering of the peonies and the irises and the daisies.
Okay, well, it's an outstanding garden in color and in fragrance. So you've obviously been by this area lots of times. And
oh yes, and it's one of my favorite places to come, and I always bring people here. But I want you to meet one of my good gardening friends. This is Alice Campbell, and she's responsible for this.
How do you do?
Hello, Alice. Welcome to our program. Wonderful garden.
Thank you. Nice to have you here.
Okay. Do you mind showing me around?
I'd love to.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Alice, you obviously have a love of peonies. And can you
Yes.
tell me just how long have these plants been in the ground here?
That bed has been in the ground over 70 years.
Over 70 years.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how long because I was too young
Okay.
to remember when it was put in. But
That's just an incredible testament of how long-lived these
Yes.
plants are.
yes, they
70
really
years.
vary, and they don't take much care.
Okay. Do you know about how many different varieties you have?
No, I couldn't tell you for sure, but I'm sure I have at least 100.
At least
different-
100.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
incredible. Well, peonies in general, can you just tell us what care you give the plants?
Well, I cut them back to the ground, almost to the ground, in the fall.
In the fall.
And clear them off so they can be cold all winter.
Okay.
And don't mulch them, and because it's easy to have them mold on
Okay.
you. And other than that, once in a while they get some feed, like
Okay.
5-10-5, but not very often. But they really don't need any. They just grow, and keeping the weeds out is the worst part.
Because you can't mulch them, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
You can mulch them in the summer, but you'd have to take it off.
Okay. Take it off so they can get that winter chill. So the
Yes.
cold.
The cold.
Is
They like
important.
it cold, yes.
Okay.
hmm
Okay. Well, speaking of temperature, this large white variety right here is one that can handle the heat a little better than some of the others.
Yes, it does very well. That's Festiva Maxima, and it's a very old peony and very pretty. It does not always pick as well as some of the other varieties because if it gets water on it, it shatters.
Okay. And it's got a little bit of red.
Yes,
in
has
those
a little
petals.
fleck of carmine on the petals.
Okay. Well, right here by your peonies, you have some Gerbera daisies, and these come back for you every year.
Yes, they've been there. I don't know how long, maybe 30 years. But they automatically get mulched with the leaves in the fall.
Uh-huh. Well,
So that keeps them alive.
that's incredible that they've been here that many years. So this variety is obviously one of the double peonies.
Yes. If you
Okay.
want a good rose variety, it's the Edulis.
Edulis?
Edulis, Edulus. And it does very well here, very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so double or rose are pretty much interchangeable as far as describing the flowers? Or is there a little difference?
Well, this is called a double rose.
Okay.
Which rose, they use different terms. Some of them are rose type and some of them are not rose type. You know, some of them have pom-poms and some of them open like a rose.
Okay.
And some of them open cup, saucer-like.
Okay, so there is a difference.
There's a difference,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think over here you got some even some different forms of the peony flowers.
Yes, I love the Japanese.
The Japanese.
Yes, this one isn't
form.
out. This is the prettiest. It's not out yet. But that's the Japanese.
Okay. And Japanese is the form usually referred to because of the stamens here. They don't produce pollen, but they're actually stamenoids. So they've been developed to give that certain look.
They look like a chrysanthemum in the center.
Yes, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right here is something really interesting, Alice. I know a lot of times I hear people wondering, why are all these ants all over the buds of my peonies, and are they going to hurt? Are they going to hurt the flowers or eat the plants?
Some people really worry about those, and they want to put out something to kill them. But if you don't have ants, you're not going to have a good bloom, because it means the bud is dead.
Okay.
If you don't have ants.
Okay, so ants are a good thing.
They're a good thing.
They're lapping up that nectar, and they actually protect that flower bud.
Yes.
They chase away any bugs that would want to eat the flower bud. So the ants are good, and you've actually accidentally brought those into your house.
Yeah, I bring them in the basement all the time. I shake them on the floor. But they're teeny weeny ants, and they're not a problem, apparently.
Okay.
Not like those big old black things and red ones.
Never been bit by them or anything?
No,
Okay.
they don't bite.
All right. Well, this beautiful pink peony with the yellow center, what's the form of that, and what's the name of that one, Alice?
That's a single, and that one happens to be a volunteer. All those singles up there are volunteers, which all came from the original seashell.
Mm-hmm. Seashell.
Seashell
Okay. So it's an offspring of the seashell.
Yes, and the seashell is right there in the corner. It's a very large one, you can see.
Okay, yes, large
Very
petals.
nice one. It opens, it looks like a seashell when it first
Okay.
opens.
Okay, and the darker pink one behind it, where did that one come from?
It came from the same thing. The bees do that somehow.
Okay, so you've kind of hybridized your own peony there.
Yep.
Or the bees helped you out. Okay, so we've looked at the double, we've looked at the Japanese form of flower, and the single.
singles.
Which is your favorite form?
Whichever one is blooming at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love the doubles because they're old-fashioned.
Okay.
And they smell good. But the singles are interesting, and the Japanese are really, really interesting.
Yes, yeah, those are.
But I think I prefer the doubles.
Okay.
The old-fashioned ones.
Okay. Well, let's look at some more of the varieties you have.
All right.
Well, Alice, this is a nice, large red one. Which one is this?
Now, this is a pom-pom type. It's called Shawnee.
Okay.
It has a row of petals around the outside and kind of a pom-pom on top.
Okay.
And the rain kind of knocked them over. So yesterday they were all standing up quite nicely. But
Okay. It's interesting, the two different types of petals.
yes,
Large
Yeah.
ones on the outside and the pom-pom type in the center. So, Alice, how did you get interested in peonies?
Well, my mother grew up in Ohio, which is the center of the peony industry.
Okay.
And Grandma grew some peonies from seed, and Mother brought some down when she moved to Oklahoma with her husband. She wanted to see if they'd grow here, and this is one of Grandma's peonies that she brought down very early on.
Okay, so that may be one of the...
Maybe the first one.
First one in Tulsa, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's really a nice one. A seedling from her garden.
Yes,
Okay. Let's take a look at some more of these cultivars. This is another nice red peony.
Yes, this is really one of the best reds for Oklahoma. This is the only red I know of that doesn't fade.
Doesn't fade, okay.
And this is called Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill.
It was developed by Hill, who developed quite a few peonies and iris, I think.
Okay, so...
And it grows very well here.
Okay, so
too.
Cherry
Hill.
Cherry Hill, one of the best red peonies for Oklahoma. Alice, this is a really nice one, I think.
Those are President Taft, and they always, to me, look like peppermint candy. They make very good picking flowers. They stand up well when you pick them.
Okay, in a vase?
Yes.
Okay. All right, lots of different colors in there. And right up here, there's sort of a
this is just the opposite. It's not a good picking flower. You can see how weak the stem is. This is old Jubilee, an old flower that had a weak stem, but it makes a wonderful floating flower. You can cut it short and float it in water.
In a dish of water. And this would be one of those bowl type.
Yes, it's flat. It's flat.
Flat, okay.
That's why it's good floater.
Okay. So this big red one back here, does it have an interesting story?
That's Kansas, and some lady had that in her garden as it was a volunteer, and someone happened to discover it who was into the peony business and bought it from her and sold it as Kansas.
Okay, so she was
a big one.
a Kansas peony grower.
Yes.
Okay.
It was just an accident.
Well, it was a good accident.
Yes, it was.
So Alice, this beautiful pink and white peony, which one is that?
That's called Gay Paree.
Okay.
And it's kind of a semi-double, and it's one of those weird things they're developing now that are sort of, bicolored.
Okay, so
peonies.
we've looked at 4 different types: the Japanese flowered, the double, the semi-double, and the single.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Alice, in your opinion, which peonies perform the best? The newer varieties or the older ones?
Oh, definitely the old varieties.
Okay.
The old doubles do the best.
Okay.
And I like people to know that about picking them, because if you don't burn the stems when you pick them,
Okay.
they will wilt and not pretty. But if you burn the stems, either you can do it in over a flame or in water, and count to 6 or 7.
Okay.
And then they stay really fresh and crisp.
Okay, you're just talking about that cut into the stem.
The cut into the stem.
Burn that cut.
And if they wilt on you, you can cut a little off that stem and burn them again, and they'll come right back.
Okay. Well, that's a good bit of information.
Right.
Well, Alice, in the early part of May, if people want to drive by here, 16th and Lewis Place, that'd be fine with you?
Yes, that's fine. They're usually blooming the first week in May.
Okay.
And you can see it easily, so
okay. Well,
glad to have you down.
It's a wonderful garden. I've enjoyed
Thank
it.
you.
Nice to meet you.